Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our media availability on O-Train's Lines 2 and 4 trial running. Merci de vous joindre à nous pour ce point de presse sur la période de rodage pour les lignes 2 et 4 de l'O-Train. As a reminder, the media availability is available in French or English. If you would like audio interpretation, you can click the interpretation globe icon in the bottom menu and select your preferred language. You can also ask your questions in the language of your choice, and this meeting is being recorded. Ce point de presse est disponible en français ou en anglais. Si vous souhaitez bénéficier d'une interprétation audio, cliquez sur l'icône de globe d'interprétation dans le menu du bas, puis sélectionnez la langue de votre choix. Vous pouvez poser vos questions dans la langue de votre choix. Cette réunion est enregistrée. Our media availability today will include opening remarks from René Amicard, General Manager of Transit Services, and Richard Holder, Director of the Rail Construction Program. Le point de presse aujourd'hui comprendant des remarques préliminaires de René Amicard, directrice générale de services de transport en commun, et de Richard Holder, directeur du programme de construction de TLR. I'll pass things over to René. René, à vous.
Merci beaucoup, Katrina.
Hello, thank you, Katrina.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our third virtual media availability for trial running. Once again, I'm joined by Richard Holder, Director of Rail Construction Program, to discuss the trial running results from October 9th. We now have 3 full days of trial running complete. I'm pleased to share that on day 3 of trial running, Transit Next has achieved a score of 100% on-time performance. 100% de ponctualité.
100%.
While I applaud everyone who helped achieve this excellent score, our work is not done yet. I remain cautiously confident as we continue to work our way through the rigorous trial running program. We are putting Transit Next to the test every day. And through our trial running, we are also putting ourselves to the test. While the focus of trial running is to assess Transit Next performance, I want to assure you that we are paying close attention to our own performance as well. Now that we have the opportunity to simulate passenger service, our team is putting their training and procedures into practice. We are learning more each day, documenting issues, and implementing solutions. We are diligently tracking our team's efforts against the overall results and will be prepared to provide a comprehensive overview at the end of the trial running phase that outlines the city's performance, the challenges we faced, and our efforts to overcome them. Now, I will give the floor to Richard to provide with an overview of day 3 of trial running. Richard, s'il vous plaît, à toi la parole.
Merci, René, and good afternoon, everyone. So here is the report for Wednesday's trial running day, October the 9th. As René mentioned, yesterday's Transit Next on-time performance was 100%. This brings the 14-day rolling average to 99.3%. This means there are a minimum of 11 days left to achieve our target of 98.5% over a 14-day rolling average. This is a strong start, and I am pleased with the early results we are seeing across the system. We will continue to work collaboratively with Transit Next to make adjustments where needed to ensure we continue with the positive on-time performance we are seeing so far. Thank you, and I will now return it back to Katrina.
Thank you, Richard. Merci, René. I'll ask each agency in alphabetical order to ask questions. Je vais maintenant inviter chaque organisme de presse par ordre alphabétique à poser des questions. We'll start with, nous allons commencer par Elise Skura at CBC.
Thank you very much for taking my question today. Yeah, I was wondering about if you could tell us a little bit about how it's going at the station where the transfer happens between line 2 and line 4, just how the timing is turning out with the trains kind of showing up and how long people might be expected to wait on the platform.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I mean, what I'm able to report back in terms of the data is that the departures are occurring as they are planned to occur at South Keys. So the train that is departing on line 4 towards the airport from South Keys is leaving within that 30-second window of the planned departure. And really that's the most important piece of data that we're reporting back on when we say that we have lost no on-time trips based on Progico's performance, TNEG's performance.
Thank you very much. And the other question that I had was just, we talked a lot going into this period of trial running about how important it would be for the switches to work properly. And I was just wondering if there had been any documented switch problems so far.
No, we've had no problems with the switches so far.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Elise. La prochaine, c'est Charles-Antoine Gagnon.
Next question, Charles-Antoine Gagnon from Le Droit newspaper. Hello. I'd like to know what the headway is between each departure. Is it 8 minutes, 10 minutes? What's the distance between each departure? That's what I'm asking. Thank you for your question. It's every 12 minutes. We have a departure every 12 minutes. It doesn't change. 7 days a week. Always 12 minutes. The other question I had is the following. What's the capacity of the trains? How many people can they hold? A good question. I would say about 300 people, Richard.
Je prends 600.
I think it's 600 per train, says Richard. So Charles-Antoine, 300 for each train, and when we attach two together, it's 600. And for the Staedtlers, it's like one big train, so 600. It's like what we see on the Confederation line. When you put two trains together, it's the same capacity, basically. Thank you.
Blair Crawford at the Ottawa Citizen.
Oh, hi, thanks. No questions. Congratulations. Good day.
Thanks, Blair. La prochaine, Mario Di Ciccio.
Next question, Mario De Ciccio from Radio-Canada. Hello. My question is very simple. What have you learned from such a day? What are the lessons you learn? Even if things go well, do you learn things? Can you tell us that? That's a great question. We're always learning, even when we get 100%. We do learn things. So we reached 100% yesterday. That was great. That's what I was saying in my introduction. That we'll be focusing on the final report on T next. So when we see there's a delay, we learn how we can actually catch up to reach 100%. It's a bit like drills, if you like. You learn how to deal with issues. Once things are underway, it's much easier to actually deal with the minor issues that come up. We're able to really deal with them very, very quickly at this point. Follow-up question. Is there anything specific that you're anticipating being an issue? I know you've reached 100% yesterday, but do you see any or foresee any issues in the future? What are you worried about? I don't like using that word, but what concerns do you have? Well, it's a very legitimate question, I think. When we announced last Thursday that we're about to start the final trial running period, It was because we were confident that we were ready, but we were being very, very careful at the same time. We're dealing with tracks, with vehicles, we're dealing with software, all that's involved. There are lots of moving parts that have to work together so that we can get a good score. But today things might go well. Tomorrow we might have an issue with the switch. These are things we're keeping an eye on. But what's very important is our capacity to deal with these issues very, very quickly. That's what's important. Our goal is not to say that we'll have a perfect service every day. That's not possible. There will be issues. But what's important is our ability to deal with those issues. And that has to be excellent. Now, this trial running period allows us to prove that we're ready. We don't want to deal with, to have issues and launch the service and then have a faulty service. T-Next is doing very, very well. We've corrected many issues already with them, so we're getting a better idea of how things work, and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. And if there are issues, we'll deal with it quickly. But when we took a decision to start the trial running period, there were no issues that had not been resolved. That doesn't mean that there won't be issues in the future. Of course, that could happen. Thank you. Thank you.
Another round of questions if anyone had a follow-up they wanted to ask. No? Okay, well then this concludes today's media availability. Ceci conclut le point de presse aujourd'hui. Merci, thank you everyone.